From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
We're then going to blow up Indianapolis with a whole bunch of Blue Jackets.
Celebrating leadership at one of the largest youth organizations in the country. It's the National FFA Convention week from Indianapolis. How is Microsoft investing in rural schools? And the latest headlines from this special edition of AgDay.
AgDay, brought to you by the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. We're awash in Blue Jackets today at the 91st Annual FFA Convention and Expo in downtown Indianapolis. Nearly 70,000 young people from across the country are here competing, learning, making memories for the future. Established back in 1925, the FFA organization remains dedicated to preparing members for leadership and careers in the science, business, and technology fields of agriculture.
We continue to grow. We announced a few weeks ago that we've reached 670,000 members, which was a growth of 17,000 members over our previous year. And we've gone back and looked in history. We've actually grown almost 50% in the last 20 years.
The week-long event is a big impact on the state with an estimated economic footprint of about $40 million for the state of Indiana. Indy currently in the running to keep the convention in town. FFA is considering contracts for 2025 through 2031. Right now, Indianapolis and Atlanta are at the top of that list. The president is slated to be in town on Saturday. President Trump would be the first president to visit the convention since 1991 when Bush the first showed up. Let's throw it back now to Betsy Gibbon with more of today's headlines. Betsy.
Thanks, Clinton. Our top story, President Trump taking to Twitter to defend his position on tariffs. He tweeted, quote, billions of dollars are and will be coming into United States coffers because of tariffs. Great also for negotiations if a country won't give us a fair trade deal. We will institute tariffs on them. Used or not, jobs and businesses will be created. U.S. respected again, end quote. This comes on the heels of the announcement the U.S. will not be sending a high-ranking official to a major investment fair in China next month. The first ever China International Import Expo is scheduled for next month. It's taking place in Shanghai. A U.S. Embassy spokesperson saying, quote, China needs to make the necessary reforms to end its unfair practices that are harming the world economy. The U.S. has raised tariffs on $250 billion of Chinese goods. China responded with its own tariff hikes on $110 billion on American imports. An update on a big court case we've been following. Two men indicted on fraud charges with a Michigan farmer have made a plea bargain. James Beecraft and Douglas Dykeman entered a guilty plea. The two were charged along with Decatur, Michigan farmer Mike Stamp. Stamp faces charges from his 2012 bankruptcy. He's accused of falsely claiming he farmed 44,000 acres in order to secure a loan. And he's accused of federal crop insurance fraud. Beecraft and Dykeman are accused of conspiring to give false statements to the Federal Crop Insurance Corporation. It's alleged the scheme cost insurance companies and the U.S. $414,000 in losses. An Indiana man now facing 3 felony counts after he was arrested for stealing and then selling trucks loaded with soybeans. This is the man accused, 55-year-old David Patterson of Modoc. That's northeast of Indianapolis. According to police, Patterson is accused of taking a semi-trailer loaded with the beans from a farmer in June. Then last month, another trailer of soybeans was stolen from a business. They say Patterson was paid about $17,000 for the stolen beans.
All right, thanks, Betsy. For these kids, many of them from rural areas, keeping up with technology is a major hurdle to creating a successful future. That's why FFA has partnered with companies like Microsoft to create the Blue Room, a 17,000 square foot interactive experience for attendees that focus squarely on technology, innovation, and how it works hand in hand with the evolving world of sustainability, efficiency, and feeding an estimated 9 billion people by the year 2050.
We've got to find ways to increase yields. How do we make the farm more efficient? I think it essentially comes down to precision farming and that efficiency that's created through innovation and technology. I think these students today that we're seeing here at FFA are really going to drive this new economy, and they're going to drive it through this innovation.
But I know in rural America there's so many struggles with that, and I think that things like the Blue Room and the FFA, they just work towards making sure each student gets an opportunity to see how this works in the real world.
You don't see that every day, and as we go forward and look into the future 10, 20 years from now, I don't see a job in agriculture that doesn't have some part of technology in there.
The room also includes a TED Talk type stage where kids could hear from industry leaders on a whole host of innovation topics.
Count on your Pioneer team to bring local knowledge and insights. Year after year, Pioneer is committed to the success of every acre on your farm. Pioneer, with you from the word go.
Talk about farming on the horizon, this would be the group. But what about managing and growing a centennial farm? Well, for one farm just down the road in Tennessee, they don't measure their success based on acres, they measure it based on opportunities made with consumers. Betsy Gibbon joins us once again to introduce you to Beatty Farms as it preserves the past and innovates for the future.
It's the oldest farm in the county, and it's just been lucky, very fortunate, that it has continued to operate.
Experience may have more to do with it than luck when you see the success of Beatty Farms in Rutherford County, Tennessee. Preserving the past and embracing the future is the goal and a lifestyle John L. Beatty and his son-in-law Brandon Witt abide by on the farm they own and operate today. The farm was founded after the Revolutionary War in 1807, the family revamping the old and creating the new, with an on-farm retail shop selling products like bacon and produce grown at the farm.
So if you don't change with time and keep up with change, you get left behind.
It now grows hogs, row crops, and produce. The farm hasn't given up on grain. It's just looking beyond the bend.
Today we grow strawberries and run a U-pick operation and is a very vital part of who we are.
The family credits success to its location and taking advantage of its proximity, located in one of the fastest growing counties in the nation, and just a short drive to Nashville, Tennessee.
Being in such an urban area, it's not about producing 5 more bushels of corn per acre.
One of the opportunities lies with the barley business in Tennessee, a direction they never considered even a few years ago.
Opportunities are out there. It's just that willingness to go out and think outside of the box, but understand who we are and where we come from to be able to take that and market that and build that into a brand.
Taking the farm in a strategic direction, open to creating a future.
Wilbur, come on.
From the unknown.
I think about that every now and then. It would be nothing that I would have even thought about probably in my lifetime.
Keeping the farm running, evolving and growing, so it can sustain this Tennessee family for another 200 years. Reporting in Rutherford County, Tennessee, I'm Betsy Gibbon.
Weather's pretty mild this week in Indianapolis. Let's check on today's crop comments with Cindy Clausen back in the AgDay studio. Good morning, Cindy.
Thanks, Clinton. Well, you may have been wondering where meteorologist Mike Hoffman has been lately, and the answer? Mexico. He sent us back this picture that he'd like to share with you. Check out this maze. Now, Mike says it was a plot of maybe 500 square feet and right between some homes. Now, he also estimated that this was about twice his height, and folks, he's about 6'4", so he thought it was at least 13, maybe even 15 feet. There was no way he could even come close to reaching the top of that corn. Well, let's take a look at your wind forecast today. We're going to be seeing some stronger winds in the far northeastern part of the country, also in parts of the northern and western parts of the Central Plains as we head through the afternoon hours. We're going to see those winds picking up a little bit in the southeast. You got a low pressure system down there, but the winds kind of stay on the stronger side, especially in the northern tip of Maine. And heading through your day on Friday, those winds will pick up into the northwest as well as the plains and into the southeast. I'll have your national forecast coming up, but first, here are some hometown temps.
Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
All right, thanks, Betsy. Up next, we continue our coverage from the National FFA Convention here in downtown Indianapolis, including a conversation with this year's past president and her impressive and historic time in office. There's plenty of time left in 2018, and who knows what that may hold. Tyne Morgan asks what to watch in today's analysis from the road.
Here now with Jim Mintert of Purdue University. Jim, to close out 2018, what are you watching? So much has already happened this year, but what are you keeping your eye on?
Well, I think the challenge for producers here through the rest of this year and through the winter is going to be to focus on preserving their working capital. That's been a strategy for several years now. I think that's still in play this year. I think as we look at doing that, holding back on capital expenditures is probably going to be key. Be very cautious about making those CapEx expenditures. And then I think the third thing to think about is, you know, with respect to what's taken place with, for example, cash rental rates. Yeah. 2/3 of the people in our survey this last month said that they expected to see cash rental rates decline in 2019. So there's going to be a lot of give and take with respect to those negotiations the rest of this fall and maybe into the winter.
Do you feel like a lot of producers, though, I know it's a fight when it comes to cash rental rates and some of that you're keeping your eye on, but what about preserving working capital? Do you feel like producers have done a good job of that so far?
I think people have cut back appropriately, and you know, I think the challenge is, you know, how long can you retain your existing set of machinery in many cases. Fortunately, we came into this downturn with very strong asset base on most farms, which has maybe made that a little easier than it might have otherwise been. So I think people have been working on that pretty hard, but the message, I think, is it's going to remain in place at least for another year. And that's a shift from where we were last spring. Last spring, we were feeling more optimistic. This was looking more like a recovery year. And then we got hit with the trade combined with extraordinarily positive yields, and we really pushed prices lower and made it a different scenario.
But Jim, do you think 2018 is going to be better than maybe what we initially thought, say mid-year, because of some of the market facilitation program and some of that and better yields? Do you think we end up better or worse?
Compared to where we were at the end of May, worse. Compared to where we thought we might be in July, early August, we might be a little better off because the market facilitation program payments are going to help. Yields are so strong, and at least in many locations, but not everywhere. As you know, your home state of Missouri has been hit pretty hard with dry weather, so it depends on where you're at. But in some cases, maybe not as bad as we thought it could be.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll have a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on Ag Day.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Well, we have a couple of features we're really going to keep an eye on as we head through the day today. One is the system in the Gulf Coast states. That's going to be moving off to the northeast. It's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to be bringing a lot of rain to the southeast, but two, it's going to help draw away that moisture from Texas, and that will be a welcome sight, although I'm sure it's not going to be a permanent thing. We'll see rain showers all the way up through the plain states. That's all going to move to the east today as well. High pressure in a lot of the eastern part of the country, but again, everything pushes off to the east. A lot of the west dry, but you're going to be seeing the Pacific Northwest getting kind of busy as you have a couple of fronts coming through. Putting this into motion, you can see that low entering the Gulf Coast states there. We've got that second low up in the northern plains into the upper Midwest, so look for some rain up there as well. Heading into the overnight hours, high pressure starts to move off the coast in the east, and you see that rain spreading into parts of the Tennessee and eventually the Ohio Valley as well. Fairly dry in the southwest this period, and I know folks in Texas are enjoying that break. You've got some rain and some upper elevation snow in the Pacific Northwest. Heading through the day on Friday, that rain increases as we get towards the mid-Atlantic states. Still have some more scattered showers as you get into the upper Midwest and now into parts of the Great Lakes region. High pressure starting to get into the central and southern plains. Let's take a look at the last 24 hours. Yeah, it's been really wet, especially for the eastern half of Texas. And adding on the next 24 hours, you see how that low is tracking through the southeastern part of the country over towards the mid-Atlantic. And you can also see some pretty good rainfall, especially for the western parts of Washington. Temperature-wise, we've been remaining very chilly in a lot of areas, and that's a trend that's been continuing for a couple of weeks now. Some warmer 60s as you get over towards Montana and over into Salt Lake City, but we've got 50s all the way down towards the Gulf Coast. So that's some pretty cool air for this time of the year, especially in those southern areas. Into the overnight hours we go. We're going to see a lot of 40s and 50s across most of the country. Some of the far northern areas will see some 30s. And then tomorrow, check out the highs. Only 52 in Atlanta. You folks are going to be cold down there. But look at that. Bismarck 51. There's really not much of a change from north to south there. Looking at the jet stream, we still have a trough in the northeastern United States, kind of a weaker ridge moving across the nation's midsection with some active weather potential for the southwest. We've got a big trough then coming in as we get towards next weekend. It's been consistent with that, and then another one looking to come in as we get into the middle and latter part of next week through the nation's midsection. That's a look at your national forecast. Now let's check out the weather where you live. Quincy, Washington, mostly cloudy today with some rain later on with a high of 57 degrees. Steelville, Missouri, cloudy and cooler with showers for you and a high of 53. And Tuskegee, Alabama, showers and thunderstorms, high of 58.
All right, we'll check on the cattle industry next on our Drovers TV report. And later, from a local chapter to the national stage, a conversation with this year's impressive outgoing president. All right, welcome back. We have new numbers for our friends in the cattle industry today. The Sterling Profit Tracker estimating that feed yards will be in the black this year. John Nalivka with Sterling Marketing projects profits of $26 per head in 2018. That's more than $150 less than last year. Currently, feed yards are losing about $43 per head. Now, packers, they're in better shape, averaging about $140 per head. That's up $20 from a year ago. Nalivka's projecting cow-calf margins for the year at an average of $156 per cow. That's up slightly from a year ago.
Fed cattle market is traded in a tight range at about $111 per hundredweight for the past 6 weeks, which results in cattle feeders losing an average of $50 to $60 per head. But there are growing signs cash prices are due to strengthen in the coming weeks. Winter and early spring cattle futures prices have gained significantly over the past 3 months, and those gains are supported by wholesale beef prices.
Drovers' Greg Henderson says the choice cutout price is trading 6% higher than this time a year ago, and beef rib prices are trading 14% higher than a year ago. He says those prices reflect strong demand and retailers getting beef ahead of the holiday season. Up next, breaking boundaries, saying hello and goodbye to the outgoing National FFA President.
In the country. Sponsored by Kubota's BV 4580 round baler. Learn more at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
It's the end of the term for the current national president of FFA, who was elected about a year ago right here in Indianapolis. As we wait for another leader to take the stage, we reflect on Brianna Holbert's tenure in office and how she continues to break boundaries. Here's Betsy Gibbon once again.
From the state of California, Brianna Holbert.
What was that like when they called your name on stage?
Shell shock. My feelings were in my toes. I couldn't feel my hands. My legs were shaking, and I felt like I was just gonna fall.
If you don't already know, let me introduce you to Brianna Holbert, the outgoing National FFA President.
So I'm from Lodi, California, born and raised. Didn't grow up on a farm. When I walked out my neighborhood, to my left I saw great fields, to my right I saw urban America.
Brianna never realizing she had a future in the industry while in school.
And my advisor, Mrs. Freeman, walked up to the front of the class and she said, "Welcome to the future farmers of America." And I was like, me? With all this hair? No, that's not me, I don't think so. But then she was like, "No, you're gonna love it, and I see so much potential in you."
Our confidence is the key.
That led to multiple positions at state and regionals before taking the top spot at the national level. A life on the road, visiting majority of the United States.
She's so authentic, so real, and just so caring, and she's truly shown that in everything that she's done this year.
Making it a priority to be the voice for students.
To help those students realize that they have a place in agricultural innovation and technology and research to grow our world, I'll do anything that I can.
At the same time, making history on another level as the first African-American female to become the National FFA President.
There's a lot of change that needs to happen, but I also know that there's a lot of hope that comes with a position like this and for someone like me to be in it, for other Black females too.
And she's already making an impact.
I think our organization does a really good job in promoting people of different races and backgrounds, accessibility, as well as students that are interested in different fields in agriculture. My hope is that students start seeing that. I think that's where the rub comes from, that students aren't having the confidence in themselves to be able to take on opportunities like this because of the environment they put themselves in.
That's why if you have not heard of Brianna, you will. Brianna is already seeing and creating opportunities for herself and others. Reporting for AgDay, I'm Betsy Gibbon.
All right, thanks, Betsy. After this, Brianna is going back to college at Chico State in California. The 21-year-old will be majoring in agricultural education. And that's all the time we have for this special edition of AgDay. Thanks for joining us from the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. We hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching.